Okay, what I want to talk about in this video is a very interesting feature of CAT called the target IK. And basically when you select, I'm just going to create an absolute layer to start with and go in animation mode. If I grab any of the limbs like the arms here, you see that there's an IK system. Same thing for the leg, and you see that it's set up differently for the leg than the arm. When you create the leg by default, it automatically assigns an IK target, which is this this footprint here that I can grab and I can move around. You see that it's separate from the foot itself, and if the foot I rotate it, it's the end of my chain, and I can still affect the whole chain like an IK, and I can still grab the leg itself and do the forward, the rotation, and all of that. So it's a system where you've got the leg itself that ends here with the limb, which is the foot, and it's the it's the end of the limb and it's the foot, and there's also the IK target, which is here. By default, it's like that for the leg, but if you look at the arm here, you see that I can grab the hand and move it around like so, and but I can also create an IK target. So I'm going to go and create this IK target, and it creates this helper inside of the scene here, and I'm going to move it away so we can see. And this IK target is separate from the solver for the arm itself. So if I still have the IK chain here, I still have the I'm just going to grab it here, and still have the FK, so I can move this around. If I want to rotate it, I can rotate it. So I've got the full IK and FK blend, FK rig for my arm, but I've got this helper here on top of that, and this helper is defined, or the reach, the hand will try to reach this helper based on the IK FK slider here. So now it's set to FK, which is basically the CAT solver, and if I just bring this here, you see that it's going to try to reach that point here as much as it can. So as I move this point around, you see that the hand has been driven by it. It doesn't, if I go back to FK, I can go back and grab the hand and still be an IK, even if it's a separate IK chain. So basically you've got the end limb and you've got the IK, and both of them are, this is a first IK solver, and then we've got the second IK solver there that tries to reach, that the hand tries to reach. The reason why this is this way is that you can animate using the regular CAT tools, and then you can blend and have the hand reach for this this target here. So let's say, for example, that I want the character to hold an object in its hand. I'll use the IK target that I'll position on the object, and then I'll just make the character goes and reach that object. So let's do that now. And what I'll do is I'll just create a sphere, and that's going to be a kind of a balloon that I want my character to hold in its hands. I'm just going to place it like so. And another thing that I want to mention is that when you select the limb itself and you go to the motion panel, you see that in the tools here you got the tool called Select IK Target, so it automatically selects that object. If I click here and select limb end, it's going to select the hand, which is the end of the arm IK-FK chain that CAT is solving. So if I go back here and say select IK, it will select it. And there's a nice tool here called move IK target to palm. So if I move that in position, it's going to match the IK and the FK. So if I try to move the IK and FK solver slider, you see that it just stays exactly in the same position. So it's great for when this is exactly in the same place. You just go into IK, and now I can grab this and rotate the end and place it exactly where I want it to be for holding this this ball there, like that, this balloon, like that, and I'm just going to place it like so, rotate it a bit more. So now I'm just placing the IK chain, or the IK target, and if I go back to the FK, it goes back to where it was at the beginning. So now it's going to try to reach that balloon like so. So I can do the same thing for the other arm. So I want to exactly the same thing. I'm going to grab the arm. By default, it doesn't have the IK target, so I'm going to create the IK target. I'm going to select that IK target, and I'm going to make sure that this slider is here to full IK, and I'm just going to move the IK, and make sure that you don't select the end itself, but the actual IK target. And I'm just going to move that one in position like so. Just move it a bit forward like that, and now it holds the balloon. So the IK target are in position, but if I grab this balloon and move it around, it doesn't follow. So what I'll do, and that's what one of the great thing of CAT is that all of the if I grab the CAT rig again, all of the animation layers here have their own controller. So let's say that it's my setup pose, and I'm going to call that here I'm going to create a new layer of animation, another absolute layer of animation, and I'm going to call that hold balloon. Whoops, hold balloon. And that's going to be my layer where I'm going to link the IK target to this. And because it's a separate layer, you'll see that if you take a look, if I grab the, I'm going to go here and select the IK target, you'll see that in the assign controller, you see that now I've got my animation layer here, and I've got the new one here called old balloon, and it has its own position, rotation, scale. So what I'll do is I'll select this, and I'll change that for a link constraint, which is a constraint in 3ds Max. Now the whole balloon layer has this constraint, and I'll say add link, and just connect to that. So now what's happening is that on that layer of animation, if I move the balloon, you see that the hand is following. If I go back here and I set that layer weight to 0, you see that if I move the balloon now, it doesn't follow because the IK, the target here is linked using a link constraint. So I'm going to go back here, select the IK target, and just make sure that we set to 100% here for the global layer. And I'll do the same thing for the other arm. I'll select the IK target. I'll go into assign controller. I'll make sure that the old balloon transformation layer here, this one here, pivot transformation, I'm going to change that to link constraint. And in the link constraint here, I'm just going to say add link and connect to that balloon. So now on that layer of animation, I can grab the actual balloon, and you'll see that both hands will be following this IK target. And if I just move this up like so, and I go back to my rig here, and I just reduce the balloon effect, you'll see that it's going back to its original. And even so, if I grab the IK here, whoops, the IK target here, come on, I can reduce and go back to the FK chain if I want to. So that's the idea here. So let's go back to our full FK and grab the I'm just going to go back to full IK here, to the full effect of that layer, because I know that on that layer I'll just be affecting the way that the character hands the balloon. What I could do is grab this here, grab the whole character, go into animation contribution, select that first layer, and just make it pure red. And the second layer here, we'll leave it to blue, and we'll leave the global weight to 100%, but all of the layers that are not affected by this strain, I'm just going to put them to 0 so that I can see that this layer is only working on. So I'm going to grab the pelvis here, global weight to 0, the hub here, global weight to 0, same thing for the head here, global weight to 0. So now I can see that this here, this layer itself will affect the arms, and it's set to 100% for the arms, so I can move this target around. And you see that this is the effect. The reason why I want to show you this is that now what I'll do is I'll show you the if I go back here and I just grab the spine here, I'm just going to grab the pelvis, going to make it back to 100% and 100% so that this layer does influence the whole upper body. So now it doesn't change much for this, but if I go back to the hand here, to the arm here, you see that the last slider at the bottom here is called retargeting. So if I just bring that forward here to 100% and grab that one here to 100% as well, what's going to happen now is that if I grab the balloon and I move it around, you'll see that the whole body will try to follow it. So basically it's a full, it's going starting from the pelvis here to up, and it's trying to keep the balloon in its hand. And if I go down like this, you see it tries the whole body, or the whole body starting from the pelvis follows up for that motion. So that's what we call the retargeting. It allows you to retarget the motion for this whole character so that the balloon is always so within reach. Of course, when you've got you're fully extended, it can no longer reach it, but it's a nice way to animate with this system. So basically what we've seen now is the IK-FK, how you can connect it to a balloon like this, to an object like this, and have the full body follow. If you don't want to have the full body to follow, go back to the select IK here, just turn off the retargeting, do the same thing for the other limb here, retargeting to off, and now if you move the balloon around, it's going to only have the arm follow that balloon. So that's the idea. So in the next video, I'm going to use the same tool to show you a couple of things that you can do with animation using that same technique of the IK constraint, the IK target, sorry.